Imagine that among those ordinary coins is a tiny copper disc that collectors across America would compete fiercely to own. Imagine that a coin worth 1 cent could quietly carry a value that shocks even experienced collectors. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But for thousands of coin hunters across the United States, this possibility is exactly what fuels their search every single day. And today, we are uncovering one of the most intriguing coins that could be hiding in drawers, jars, or forgotten piggy banks across the country, the 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Now before you dismiss that idea and think, I've seen hundreds of 1967 pennies, let me ask you something important. Have you ever examined one closely? Not casually. Not while paying at the grocery store. I mean truly studied it the way professional collectors do. Because sometimes the smallest details can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And the 1967 Lincoln penny has a story that many Americans still don't know. Picture the year 1967 in the United States. The country was experiencing enormous cultural change. The space race was capturing imaginations. Music, fashion, and technology were rapidly evolving. But behind the scenes, something unusual was happening at the U.S. Mint. During the mid-1960s, the Mint made a controversial decision that would affect millions of coins. They temporarily removed mint marks from coins. The reason? To discourage collectors from hoarding coins during a national coin shortage. That meant that every Lincoln penny struck in 1967 carried no mint mark at all. At first glance, that makes the coin seem ordinary. After all, more than 3 billion were produced. But here is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Among those billions of coins, a tiny number were struck with minting irregularities and striking errors. These errors are what transform a simple copper penny into something far more exciting. Collectors search relentlessly for these rare variations because they represent something unique, a moment when the minting process produced something that should never have existed. Let me ask you a question. What if one of those rare error coins passed through your hands yesterday? What if it sat unnoticed in your coin jar for years? How many people across America might already be holding one without realizing it? The truth is, collectors have discovered several types of valuable errors on the 1967 Lincoln penny. Some coins show dramatic doubled lettering, where the inscriptions appear slightly duplicated due to a die misalignment. Others reveal off-center strikes, where the design is shifted and part of the coin appears blank. And then there are coins with die cracks, clipped planchets, and unusual metal flow patterns that immediately capture the attention of serious collectors. How do you actually sell old rare coins in the United States? How do you turn a penny into serious money? How do collectors transform pocket change into life-changing opportunities? The answers are simpler than many people think. First, collectors understand the importance of condition. A coin that has been preserved carefully, with sharp details and minimal wear, can command dramatically higher prices than a worn example. This is why professional grading services exist. They authenticate coins and assign a grade that tells buyers exactly how well preserved the coin is. Second, collectors know where to sell. The United States has an enormous network of auction houses, coin dealers, and collector marketplaces. When a rare coin appears in a respected auction, it attracts bidders from across the country and sometimes from around the world. The excitement alone can drive prices upward in ways many sellers never expected. Let me pause for a moment and ask you something directly. When was the last time you looked through your coin jar at home? Not just glanced at it, actually searched through it. Because the truth is both exciting and slightly unsettling. Rare coins are discovered every year by ordinary people who were simply curious enough to look. Now imagine this scenario: you open an old drawer in your home. Inside is a small envelope of pennies saved decades ago. Among them is a bright 1967 Lincoln penny with unusually sharp lettering. Something about it looks different. The letters appear slightly doubled, almost like a shadow. At first you think your eyes are playing tricks on you, but they aren't. That moment of curiosity could be the beginning of something remarkable. Professional collectors often describe coin hunting as a treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. Unlike buried gold or lost pirate ships, the treasure is already circulating among us. It passes from hand to hand every day through grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines, and here is where the emotional side of collecting begins to appear. There is excitement in discovery, there is curiosity in examining history, and there is urgency in realizing that the next valuable coin could be one you overlook. Think about it. How many people spend years chasing financial opportunities in complicated investments, while a simple habit, checking coins carefully, could uncover something extraordinary? But discovering a rare coin is only part of the journey. Many viewers watching right now are asking the most practical question of all: how do you sell coins for the best price? The answer begins with knowledge. Learning to recognize valuable features gives sellers confidence when approaching collectors or auction houses. Professional photographs, accurate descriptions, and authentication all increase a coin's appeal to serious buyers. Auction houses in the United States play a major role in the rare coin market. When a coin with an interesting error appears, collectors compete aggressively because they understand that another example might not appear for years. This is why demand for rare Lincoln pennies continues to grow. They represent American history, they are accessible to everyday people, and occasionally they reveal astonishing surprises. Now let's return to the coin at the center of today's story, the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. For most people, it will always remain a 1-cent coin. But for collectors who discover the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting error, it can become something far more significant. A coin that once purchased a piece of candy can become a centerpiece in a collection. A coin once ignored in pocket change can suddenly attract attention in an auction room, and sometimes, the final hammer price leaves everyone stunned, because when the rarest examples appear, collectors have been known to push the bidding to astonishing heights. In fact, one exceptional example of a rare 1967 Lincoln penny error in outstanding condition has reached a market value approaching $70,000. Think about that for a moment. A single penny, worth nearly the price of a luxury car. This is why collectors remain endlessly fascinated by coins. Every coin carries history. Every coin carries possibility. And sometimes, hidden among millions of ordinary pieces, a tiny copper disc quietly waits to change someone's expectations forever. We're talking about one of those hidden possibilities, the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin so ordinary at first glance that millions of Americans have handled it, yet under the right conditions, it can be a collector's prize worth serious money. Before you dismiss the idea, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at a penny? Not just glanced at it, but studied it. Because sometimes the difference between a common coin and a valuable one is a tiny detail most people ignore. Back in 1968, the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Many were struck in Philadelphia and carried no mint mark at all, which was normal for that location during that time. But here's where the story becomes interesting. Among those millions of coins, a few were struck with unusual characteristics, subtle minting errors, misalignments, or exceptional preservation. These small differences transformed an everyday coin into something collectors actively search for. Think about that for a moment. A coin originally worth 1 cent could now be worth thousands of dollars simply because of a detail most people never notice. Now imagine this scenario. You're cleaning out an old drawer or sorting through a jar of coins from years ago. You see a worn penny dated 1968. Normally you would toss it back without thinking. But what if that coin had no mint mark and showed signs of a rare striking error? What if collectors were waiting for coins exactly like the one you're holding? This is where curiosity turns into opportunity. Many collectors are obsessed with small variations in coins. A slight doubling in the lettering. A subtle shift in the design. Even the quality of the strike can change everything. And for the 1968 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, certain rare examples have attracted strong attention at auctions and private collector sales. Let's pause for a second and ask a question most viewers are thinking right now. Could a coin in your pocket actually be worth real money? The answer is yes. But only if you know what to look for. Picture the design of the Lincoln penny. On the front you see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the same design that has appeared on American pennies for generations. On the back of the 1968 version, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial. But the key detail for collectors begins with the date and the area beneath it. For Philadelphia coins in 1968, there is no mint mark under the date. That's why they're called no mint mark pennies. Now here's the exciting part. some 1968 no-mint mark pennies show minting anomalies that collectors call errors. These could include double die details, where the lettering appears slightly duplicated because of the way the coin die was made. Others might show off-center strikes or unusually crisp details caused by early die strikes. And when these rare variations appear on a coin that has survived in exceptional condition for decades, the value can climb dramatically. Let me ask you something directly. Do you still have old jars of pennies at home? Are there coins sitting in a coffee can, a piggy bank, or a forgotten drawer? And have you ever wondered if one of them could change your financial situation? For many Americans, coin collecting started as a hobby. But for others, it turned into something far more powerful, an unexpected financial opportunity. The rare coin market in the United States is massive. Collectors compete for the finest examples of coins from each year, and when a desirable coin appears at auction, the bidding can become intense. Now imagine holding a coin that collectors are actively searching for. Imagine realizing that the penny in your hand could be the exact piece someone needs to complete their collection. This is the moment where excitement meets urgency, because here's the truth most people don't realize. Valuable coins are still circulating. They're still hiding in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and old collections passed down through families. Sometimes they even show up in pocket change. Let me ask another question that might surprise you. What if the pennies you've been ignoring for years are actually tiny pieces of American history with real financial value? The 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny sits at the center of that possibility. While most examples are common, the rare error versions and high-grade specimens have captured the attention of collectors and auction houses across the country. These coins can sell for far more than 1 cent when the right buyer appears, and that brings us to a question many viewers ask: how do you sell old rare coins in the United States? The process is actually simpler than most people think. Rare coins are often sold through professional coin dealers, auction houses, or reputable coin marketplaces. Experienced collectors are constantly looking for specific coins to complete their collections, and when a desirable coin becomes available, they're willing to pay strong prices to secure it. But before selling any coin, knowledge is power. You need to identify what you have. Study the coin carefully. Look for unusual details. Examine the lettering, the date, and the condition. Even small differences can change the value dramatically. Here's a quick moment of honesty with you. If someone offered you thousands of dollars for a penny today, would you know whether to accept the offer, or would you want to learn more first? Smart collectors always research their coins before selling them. Auction records, coin grading services, and professional dealers can help determine the true market value. And when a rare or exceptional example appears, collectors often compete fiercely to own it. Now think about the bigger picture. Millions of Americans handle pennies every day without a second thought. Yet a few of those coins quietly become treasures over time. That's the magic of coin collecting. It turns everyday objects into opportunities, and sometimes those opportunities come from the most unexpected places, like the spare change in your pocket. So here's the challenge for you, tonight: open that drawer. Look through those old jars. Examine the coins you've been ignoring for years. Ask yourself a simple question: could one of these pennies be the coin collectors are searching for? Because the journey from pocket change to serious money often begins with curiosity. And speaking of curiosity, here's something fascinating. When exceptional 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies appear in the collector market in outstanding condition, their prices can surprise even experienced collectors. High-grade specimens with strong eye appeal and desirable characteristics have reached impressive auction results. In fact, one remarkable example achieved a market value of $70,000. Just imagine that for a second. A single penny, becoming $70,000. That's the kind of transformation that keeps collectors searching, studying, and examining every coin they find. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. Imagine this for a moment. You reach into an old drawer, a forgotten coin jar, or the loose change in your car's cup holder. Your fingers close around a simple penny. Nothing special, or so it seems. But what if that tiny copper coin was quietly holding a secret worth thousands of dollars? What if a single glance at the date could change the way you look at every coin you've ever owned? Today we're uncovering the hidden story behind the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin many Americans have seen, but very few have truly understood. Somewhere in the United States right now, these pennies are sitting unnoticed in jars, desk drawers, piggy banks, and old family collections. Some people have even spent them without realizing what they were holding. The question is simple but powerful: could one of them already be in your possession? The year 1971 was an interesting moment in American history. The country was evolving rapidly, and everyday coins were being produced by the billions. The familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced on the cent in 1909, remained a constant symbol of American resilience. But during that year, something unusual happened at the Philadelphia Mint. Certain coins were struck with subtle minting irregularities that collectors now study closely. These tiny variations transformed an ordinary penny into a piece of numismatic intrigue. At first glance, the 1971 Lincoln penny without a mint mark might look completely ordinary. In fact, most of them were produced exactly that way because coins from Philadelphia often carried no mint mark during that period. But here's where the story becomes exciting. A small number of these pennies exhibit minting errors, faint doubling in the lettering, off-center strikes, or unusual die characteristics that make collectors stop and stare. In the world of coin collecting, rarity and error are like lightning in a bottle. When they appear together, value can skyrocket. Now pause for a second and think about your own pocket change. Have you ever checked the pennies carefully? Not just the date, but the details around the letters, the rim, the design. Many people assume a penny is just a penny. Yet history has proven again and again that overlooked coins can turn into unexpected treasures. Collectors across America constantly search for rare variations of the 1971 Lincoln cent. The demand is driven by one simple truth: serious collectors want coins that tell a story. A coin with a minting error is like a fingerprint from the past. It proves that something unusual happened in the moment it was created. And collectors love that mystery. Imagine being at an auction room in the United States, surrounded by passionate coin buyers. The auctioneer lifts a small coin under bright lights. Cameras zoom in. Experts nod quietly as the details become visible. Suddenly the bidding begins. One collector raises a paddle. Another joins in. The price climbs quickly, because rare pennies, especially those with desirable errors, can ignite fierce competition. You might be wondering something important right now. How do people actually turn old coins into real money? How do ordinary individuals go from a jar of pennies to selling a valuable coin at auction? These are questions many viewers ask. How to sell old rare coins? How to sell coins the right way? How to make money from coins that might be hiding in plain sight? The answer begins with awareness. When you know which coins collectors are looking for, your perspective changes completely. Instead of ignoring pennies, you start studying them. Instead of tossing them into a jar, you examine the date, the design, and the small details that others miss. The 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those coins that encourages this curiosity. Certain examples with strong error features have attracted serious attention in the collector community. Condition also plays a massive role. A coin preserved in crisp, uncirculated condition can command dramatically higher prices than a worn example that spent decades in circulation. Here's a quick moment of honesty, and maybe a little humor. How many pennies have slipped through your hands in your lifetime? Hundreds? Thousands? Imagine if even one of them had been a valuable variety. That thought alone is enough to make many collectors start checking every coin they see, but this is where excitement turns into opportunity. Across the United States, coin collectors and dealers constantly search for overlooked treasures. They visit estate sales, flea markets, garage sales, and small antique shops. Why? Because rare coins are still being discovered in the most ordinary places, and that leads to one of the biggest questions people ask: how to sell old and rare coins in the United States. The process is simpler than many expect. Valuable coins are typically evaluated by professional grading services, which authenticate the coin and assign a condition grade. Once certified, collectors and investors gain confidence in its authenticity, and that confidence can push auction prices higher. Auction houses, coin shows, and reputable dealers all play a role in the marketplace. A coin that once sat unnoticed in a jar can suddenly become the center of attention. And when collectors compete, prices can climb rapidly. Think about the emotional side of this journey. There is excitement in discovery, the thrill of realizing something small could be valuable. There is urgency in knowing that millions of people handle coins every day without looking closely. And there is a hint of fear too, the possibility that a rare coin could slip away unnoticed if you never checked it. So let's return to that simple penny again. The 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent. To most people it's ordinary. But to collectors, it's a reminder that hidden value can exist in the most unexpected places. Every detail matters, the shine of the metal, the sharpness of the design, the possibility of a minting anomaly that makes the coin unique. By now you may be asking yourself another question. Could pocket change really lead to something bigger? Could a simple habit of checking coins open the door to discovering rare pieces? History suggests the answer is yes. Stories circulate constantly within the coin collecting world about people who found valuable coins in everyday places. A forgotten coin jar. A family inheritance box. Even spare change from a grocery store purchase. The idea of turning pocket change into real wealth sounds almost unbelievable, yet collectors pursue it every day. From pocket changes to millions, this phrase captures the dream that drives many people to examine their coins carefully. As we come to the end of this story, everything connects back to that moment at the beginning. The simple act of picking up a penny and asking one question, what if this coin is special? The 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny reminds us that value often hides where people least expect it. Somewhere out there, one of these coins could still be waiting to be discovered. Maybe in a forgotten drawer. Maybe in an old jar on a kitchen shelf. Maybe even in the loose change sitting beside you right now. And for those who understand what to look for, this humble copper coin can become something far more powerful than spare change. It can become an opportunity. Imagine this scene for a moment. A man cleaning out his late father's garage finds an old glass jar filled with pennies. At first, it looks like nothing special. Just coins that were tossed aside for decades. But then he notices something curious. One penny dated 1973. No mint mark beneath the date. The color slightly different. The strike unusually sharp. He almost tosses it back into the jar. Almost, but curiosity stops him. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you ignored a penny? How many times have you walked past loose change on the sidewalk or dumped coins into a jar without even looking at the date? Here's the surprising truth that excites collectors and auction houses across America. The 1973 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was produced in Philadelphia, and millions were made. But within those millions, certain rare error variations slipped through the minting process. And those rare errors are exactly what serious collectors compete for. That competition is where the real opportunity begins. The early 1970s were a fascinating period in American coin production. The coin features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner decades earlier. On the reverse during that time was the Lincoln Memorial design, symbolizing American unity and legacy, but sometimes during production, something unexpected happened. A tiny misalignment. A striking anomaly. A doubled design element. A planchet irregularity. Errors that were never meant to leave the mint, yet somehow did, and when they did, they created rarity. Think about this. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is the fuel that drives value. Collectors don't chase common coins. They chase the unusual, the mysterious, the coins with stories hidden inside metal. So what kinds of 1973 penny errors are collectors searching for today? One of the most talked about is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin's design is accidentally stamped twice at slightly different angles. The result can appear as doubled lettering in the words Liberty or In God We Trust. When collectors see clear doubling, excitement builds quickly. Another valuable variation is an off-center strike. Picture the coin design shifted slightly to one side, leaving part of the blank copper visible. It might look strange at first, almost like a mistake you'd reject. But to collectors, that mistake can make the coin far more desirable. then there are die cracks and die breaks. These occur when the minting dies develop small fractures after repeated use. When the coin is struck, those cracks appear as raised lines across the surface of the coin. Sometimes subtle, sometimes dramatic, and here's where the story becomes truly interesting. Many of these coins quietly entered circulation in 1973 and spent decades moving from pocket to pocket across America. Grocery stores, gas stations, coffee shops, vending machines. Think about that journey. A coin that might have traveled through thousands of hands before landing in a forgotten coin jar, which leads to a question many viewers are asking right now: what if that coin is sitting in your home today? What if one careful look at your pocket change could reveal something extraordinary? And this is exactly why thousands of Americans have begun checking their coins again. Not casually. Carefully, because within everyday change, hidden treasures sometimes wait for the right person to notice them. Now let's talk about something that excites collectors even more than rarity. Condition.in coin collecting. Condition can transform value dramatically. A worn coin that circulated for decades may still hold interest. But a sharply preserved coin with strong detail and minimal wear becomes something entirely different. Collectors call these high-grade coins. A brilliant 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a visible error and exceptional condition can command powerful attention in the marketplace. Auction houses, coin dealers, and private collectors often compete for such pieces because they represent the intersection of rarity, history, and preservation. And that brings us to the moment many viewers are waiting for: how do you actually turn an old coin into real money? If you are wondering how to sell old rare coins in the United States, the process begins with knowledge. Successful sellers never rush. They examine the coin carefully, research its characteristics, and verify any unusual features. Professional coin grading services play a major role here. When a coin is authenticated and graded, collectors gain confidence in its legitimacy. That confidence often translates into stronger auction results, but here's something important to remember. The coin market thrives on timing and demand. Auction platforms, specialized coin dealers, and numismatic marketplaces constantly watch for rare pieces entering the market. When collectors see a coin that fills a missing gap in their collection, bidding can escalate quickly. So ask yourself this: have you ever wondered how people turn pocket change into serious money? Have you ever asked how collectors identify valuable coins hiding in everyday circulation? Have you thought about how to sell old rare coins at auction shops across America? The truth is surprisingly simple. It begins with curiosity, the same curiosity that made that man pause before tossing his father's penny back into the jar. And here is the fascinating conclusion to his story: after careful examination, the coin was sent to a professional grading service. The experts confirmed it carried a notable minting error and strong preservation for its age. When it finally appeared at auction, collectors took notice immediately. Bidding climbed higher. Then higher again, because collectors understand something many people overlook: every rare coin represents a moment in history that cannot be recreated. The presses that struck it are gone. The conditions that produced the error will never occur in exactly the same way again. That uniqueness is what fuels demand, and demand is what creates value. So the next time you find yourself holding a penny dated 1973, don't dismiss it too quickly. Look closely at the date. Check beneath it for the mint mark. Examine the lettering. Notice the edges and the alignment. A quiet moment, a simple penny, and a life-changing discovery. Imagine reaching into your pocket tonight, pulling out a single coin, and realizing that the small copper disc resting in your palm could be worth thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But collectors across America know that sometimes the most ordinary coins hide extraordinary value. And today we are talking about one of those hidden treasures, the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin many people overlook, yet one that has sparked excitement, curiosity, and serious attention in the rare coin market. Before you dismiss the idea, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your change jar? When was the last time you asked yourself a simple question: could one of these coins secretly be worth far more than 1 cent? Many Americans unknowingly spend valuable coins every day. Coins pass through grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines without anyone realizing their potential. And somewhere out there, the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark may still be sitting quietly in someone's drawer, waiting to be discovered. The story of this coin begins in the year 1988, when millions of Lincoln pennies were produced in the United States. Most of them were ordinary circulation coins, created to do their simple job in everyday transactions. But in the world of coin collecting, small details can mean everything. Tiny variations, subtle errors, and overlooked production quirks can transform an everyday coin into a collector's prize. Here is where the intrigue begins. Some 1988 Lincoln pennies were struck without a visible mint mark. For many casual observers, that might not sound like a big deal. But in the numismatic world, mint marks matter. They tell collectors where the coin was produced, whether in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. When something unusual appears, or disappears, it can create serious interest among collectors and investors. Now let me ask you another question. What if a coin you already own could be worth hundreds, or even thousands, depending on its condition and rarity? What if the penny sitting quietly in your pocket tonight could attract attention at an auction house tomorrow? These are not fantasy questions. They are the exact questions that drive collectors to search through jars of old coins every single day. Think about it. The United States has been producing Lincoln cents since 1909, and collectors have spent decades studying every detail of these coins. Over time, they discovered that certain years and variations carry far more value than others. When a coin with unusual characteristics appears, collectors immediately start paying attention, and that brings us back to the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. In pristine condition, examples of this coin have attracted impressive interest in the collector market. The highest graded specimens, coins that appear almost untouched by time, can command astonishing prices when presented at major auctions. The maximum recorded market value for a top-grade example has reached an incredible level, proving that even a humble penny can become a serious financial opportunity. Now pause for a moment and imagine this scenario. You're cleaning your house on a quiet weekend afternoon. You open an old drawer filled with coins you've been saving for years. Among them, you spot a familiar copper color. You flip the coin over and notice something interesting. There is no mint mark. Suddenly your curiosity wakes up. Could this be one of those valuable coins collectors talk about? This moment, this exact moment, is where excitement enters the world of coin collecting. But here's the real question many viewers ask. How do you actually sell old rare coins? If you discovered a valuable penny tomorrow, what would you do next? Would you take it to a local coin shop? Would you list it online? Would you send it to a professional grading service? These are important questions because the way you sell a coin can dramatically affect the price you receive. Professional collectors know that authentication and grading are essential steps. When a coin is examined and certified by experts, buyers gain confidence. That confidence often translates into higher bids and stronger demand. In major auctions across the United States, rare coins frequently attract collectors who are eager to compete for the finest examples. Now imagine that same 1988 Lincoln penny appearing in a respected auction catalog. Photographed beautifully. Graded professionally. Presented to an audience of serious collectors. Suddenly, that small coin has a stage. It has attention. It has demand, and demand is where the real magic happens. Have you ever watched an auction where bidders begin raising their paddles again and again? The tension builds. The price climbs higher. And suddenly the final hammer falls at a number far beyond what anyone expected. That moment is the heartbeat of the rare coin market, but let's interrupt this story for a quick reality check, and maybe a little humor. How many pennies are hiding in your couch right now? Be honest. 3. 10. Maybe 50. If your couch could talk, it might say, "Hey, stop sitting on your fortune." It sounds funny, but it's also a reminder. Valuable coins often hide in the most ordinary places. Old jars, piggy banks, forgotten drawers, inherited collections. Every one of these places has the potential to reveal a surprising discovery. This is why collectors often say that the journey from pocket change to serious wealth begins with curiosity. One question leads to another. One coin leads to a search. And sometimes that search leads to a remarkable discovery. So let's return to the big questions viewers always ask: how can you make money from coins? How do you sell old and rare coins in the United States? Where can you find buyers willing to pay real collector prices? The answer begins with knowledge. Understanding what to look for, dates, mint marks, and possible errors, can transform the way you see everyday coins. Instead of ignoring pennies, you begin examining them. Instead of spending them immediately, you start setting interesting examples aside, and here's where momentum builds. Once collectors recognize a valuable coin, the next step is connecting with the right marketplace. Auction houses, certified dealers, and professional coin shows across America create environments where rare coins attract competitive buyers. Picture a room filled with collectors studying coins under bright lights. Magnifying glasses in hand. Quiet conversations about grading, rarity, and history. When a rare Lincoln penny appears in this environment, attention spreads quickly. Word travels. Interest grows, and suddenly that humble 1-cent coin becomes the center of the room. Now imagine the emotional side of that moment. The excitement. The anticipation. The realization that something once dismissed as pocket change has become a sought-after collectible. That transformation, from ordinary to extraordinary, is what makes coin collecting so powerful. But here is the deeper connection tying everything together. Coins are more than metal. They are pieces of American history. Each Lincoln penny carries the legacy of a design first introduced in 1909, honoring one of the most respected presidents in American history. Over generations, these coins have passed through millions of hands, quietly witnessing the story of everyday life. Imagine this for a moment. You reach into your pocket, pull out a simple penny, glance at it for a second, and then realize that tiny coin might be worth thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But stories like this happen more often than people think in the world of coin collecting. Across the United States, ordinary people are discovering that coins hiding in jars, drawers, and old wallets are quietly worth serious money. Today we are diving into one fascinating example, the mysterious 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that could transform a single cent into a collector's prize. The coin carries the portrait of one of America's most iconic leaders, Abraham Lincoln, first placed on the cent in 1909. For generations, this small copper-colored coin has passed through millions of hands. Yet within the massive production runs of the United States Mint, something remarkable occasionally happens. A mistake. A misstrike. A tiny error during manufacturing. And that tiny error can turn a 1-cent coin into a treasure that collectors chase with excitement. Now here's the question that should make you pause for a moment. What if one of those coins is already sitting in your pocket change right now? The 1991 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was produced in Philadelphia. More than 5 billion were made, which means most of them are common. But here is where the story changes. When collectors search through coins, they are not looking for the ordinary ones. They are hunting for the extraordinary pieces, the coins with errors, unusual strikes, or pristine condition that survived untouched for decades. And when those rare examples appear at auction, the price can climb dramatically. In fact, high-grade specimens of the 1991 penny have sold for as much as $10,100 depending on condition and collector demand. Think about that for a moment. A coin that once bought a single piece of candy could now represent thousands of dollars. But why does this happen? Why would collectors pay such serious money for something so small? The answer lies in rarity and story. Every coin has a journey. Some coins are perfectly struck and preserved, while others carry fascinating mint errors. In the case of the 1991 penny, collectors search for unusual variations such as off-center strikes, double denominations, or dramatic die clashes. One incredible example involved a penny accidentally struck on a dime blank, creating a hybrid coin that sold for more than $2,000 at auction. Now let me ask you something important. When was the last time you actually looked closely at the pennies in your change? Most people never do. They spend them without thinking. They drop them into jars. They forget about them in drawers. And that is exactly why valuable coins continue to surface decades later. Somewhere in America, someone always finds a coin worth far more than its face value, and here is the exciting part. It could be you. Imagine opening an old box in your attic. Inside you find a small coin collection that once belonged to your grandfather. Among those coins is a shiny 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance it looks ordinary. But under magnification you notice something unusual, a striking error, a rare misalignment, or an almost perfect uncirculated surface. That moment of discovery is what coin collectors live for, but let's pause for a second with a quick question. Be honest. Have you ever thrown pennies into a jar and said, "These are worthless"? If you have, you're not alone. Millions of people do the same thing every day. And yet inside those jars could be coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. This is where curiosity turns into opportunity. People often ask, how to sell old rare coins? How does someone actually turn pocket change into real money? How do collectors transform coins into serious profits? The first step is knowledge. Understanding what makes a coin valuable is the difference between spending it for 1 cent and selling it for thousands. Coin collectors examine several key factors: the condition of the coin, the rarity of the variety, and whether the coin has been certified by professional grading companies like Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations authenticate coins and assign official grades. And once a coin receives a high grade, its value can multiply dramatically. Collectors trust certified coins because they know the authenticity has been verified by experts, but another powerful force drives prices upward: demand. Serious collectors across the United States constantly search for rare Lincoln cents to complete their collections. When a rare coin appears in an auction, competitive bidding begins. Suddenly the price climbs higher and higher. This is why major auction houses such as Heritage Auctions regularly sell rare coins for astonishing amounts of money. And here's the fascinating twist: many of those coins were once discovered in ordinary circulation. So the real question becomes, could your next discovery be hiding in your own change? Picture this scenario. You're standing at a grocery store checkout. The cashier hands you a few coins. Among them is a 1991 penny. Most people would toss it aside without another thought. But now you look closer. You check the date. You notice the absence of a mint mark. You examine the lettering. The surface. The strike. Suddenly that coin is no longer just pocket change. It is a possibility, and possibilities create excitement. That excitement is exactly what fuels the world of coin collecting. From beginners to experienced collectors, the hunt for rare coins never stops. People search through rolls from banks. They examine inherited collections. They explore estate sales and flea markets, because somewhere out there, hidden among billions of ordinary coins, are the few extraordinary ones that collectors dream about. Let me ask you another question: what if the next valuable coin discovery isn't made by a professional collector, but by someone just like you? Someone who simply decided to check their change. Someone who looked closely at a simple 1991 Lincoln penny. Someone who realized that even the smallest coin can hold a remarkable story.